We have entered into a record 8 FTAs and will soon announce the 9th bilateral trade agreement's first tranche details with the USA, which has been agreed upon only 2 days back. 9 free trade agreements between India and other developed nations cover 38 countries, all of whom are developed nations. बहुत ही सार्थक चर्चा चल रही है भारत और यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स ऑफ अमेरिका के बीच। हमारे दोनों नेताओं ने निर्णय लिया है, हमारा पहला ट्रांच बायलैटरल ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट का लगभग तैयार हो गया है। हमारी उम्मीद है कि अगले 4-5 दिन में हम एक जॉइंट स्टेटमेंट यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स ऑफ अमेरिका और भारत के बीच में फाइनलाइज करके साइन कर देंगे। उस जॉइंट स्टेटमेंट के आधार पर शुरुआत हो जाएगी हमारे दोनों के बीच में इस समझौते की पहली कड़ी। साथ ही साथ एक फॉर्मल एग्रीमेंट ड्राफ्ट हो रहा है जिसको शायद महीना भर 1.5 महीना लग सकता है और उस फॉर्मल एग्रीमेंट को मिड मार्च तक साइन करने का अंदाजा है। लेकिन 18% जो यूएस टैरिफ्स घटने हैं वो जॉइंट स्टेटमेंट अनाउंस होने के बाद एग्जीक्यूटिव ऑर्डर द्वारा यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स ऑफ अमेरिका कर देगा। A very warm welcome to you, Excellency Dr. Raja. Warm welcome to you, my colleague Jiten Prasad, other Shri Rajesh Agarwal, Commerce Secretary, our Chief Negotiator Mr. Ajay Badhu, Additional Secretary, and all the distinguished friends from the media. A very good afternoon. Truly a momentous day when we are signing the terms of reference of yet another free trade agreement, this time with our friends from the 6 nations which comprise the Gulf Cooperation Council, the GCC. Many of us are aware that discussions have been going on for nearly 2 decades, that 2 trading partners, as His Excellency Dr. Raja Marzoki just mentioned, 2 trading partners who have been trading amongst each other for over 5,000 years. It is most appropriate that we now enter into a much stronger and robust trading arrangement which will enable greater free flow of goods, services, bring predictability and stability to policy, help encourage greater degree of investments, and take our bilateral relations between the 6 nation GCC group and India to greater heights. Friends, we are all aware that India is on the fast track. Not only are we the fastest growing large economy on the globe today, with quantum growth over the last decade, our strong fundamentals, the macroeconomic fundamentals, the massive reforms being carried out under the Reform Express, our effort to engage with friendly global partners with deeper agreements and arrangements. We have entered into a record 8 FTAs and will soon announce the 9th bilateral trade agreement's first tranche details with the USA, which has been agreed upon only 2 days back. Effectively, these 9 free trade agreements between India and other developed nations cover 38 countries, all of whom, 38 countries, all of whom are developed nations. The lowest per capita income of any of these countries is probably $20,000-$25,000. These economies help us in our own thrust to modernize India, to meet the aspirations of young India, to provide opportunities for our farmers, our fishermen, our MSMEs, our manufacturing base, give our youth and women more opportunities for business, for becoming exporters, jobs, and help India achieve its stated goal of becoming a developed nation by 2047, Viksit Bharat 2047, when we celebrate 100 years of independence. Friends, the agreement with the GCC group of 6 countries will further strengthen our relations both on a geopolitical and trading elements, will help draw greater amounts of investments, create job opportunities for Indians both in the GCC nations and in India, encourage the food security and energy security of both the GCC nations and India, and give a message to the world of our deep ties and historic relations, friendly relations. And as I believe the GCC and India come closer together, we will become a force multiplier for global good. Under Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji's leadership, the 6-nation GCC group has transformed into a strategic economic partner. Our friendship has taken newer and greater dimensions, and the strong bonds that Prime Minister Modi shares with all the leaders of the 6-nation GCC group have enabled us today to launch our discussions on this very powerful new partnership that will help us grow our engagement with the GCC. We already have a very robust, nearly 179 billion bilateral trade between the GCC countries and India. I believe a number of products and services required by the GCC countries can be provided by our young, very talented and skilled Indians, as the GCC countries can help us with further diversification and growth of our energy sources, opportunities for our youth, and massive amounts of investments that different countries have already committed at different point of time, which will further get an impetus with a free trade agreement between India and the GCC nations. We already have about 10 million Indians living and working in the GCC region, helping power the economies of the GCC and working as a living bridge between our societies, between our nations. I am very confident that going forward, this block level FTA, we already have an FTA with Oman and UAE, but an FTA, a more holistic, comprehensive FTA with all the 6 nations of the Middle East, the Gulf Cooperation Council nations, will further give comfort to businesses on both sides, expand our trust which over 5,000 years has taken very strong dimensions and will help us grow sectors like food processing, which will help our farmers and fishermen in a very big way, giving them bigger opportunities for value-added products, which are already exported to the GCC nations in substantial measure, which will get a big boost with the elimination of duties, tariffs and non-tariff barriers. We will also get a foothold to grow Indian infrastructure and the infrastructure in the GCC together with the high quality companies that are working in the space of infrastructure. Our petrochemical industry will hugely benefit with this partnership. Our information and communication technology, the ICT companies, will get opportunities in the ever-growing GCC market, and collectively the 6 nations and India will continue to play an increasingly important role in the global arena. Congratulations, friends, to both the teams on the execution, on the finalization of the terms of reference. I look forward to working very closely with the GCC nations for mutual benefit for both the GCC and India, and further strengthening one more partnership and take the country forward on a fast track under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Thank you very much. बहुत ही सार्थक चर्चा चल रही है भारत और यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स ऑफ अमेरिका के बीच, जो हमारे दोनों नेताओं ने निर्णय लिया है। हमारा पहला ट्रांच बायलैटरल ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट का लगभग तैयार हो गया है। हमारी उम्मीद है कि अगले 4-5 दिन में हम एक जॉइंट स्टेटमेंट यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स ऑफ अमेरिका और भारत के बीच में फाइनलाइज करके साइन कर देंगे, और उस जॉइंट स्टेटमेंट के आधार पर शुरुआत हो जाएगी हमारे दोनों के बीच में इस समझौते की पहली कड़ी। साथ ही साथ एक फॉर्मल एग्रीमेंट ड्राफ्ट हो रहा है, जिसको शायद महीना भर 1.5 महीना लग सकता है, और उस फॉर्मल एग्रीमेंट को मिड मार्च तक साइन करने का अंदाजा है। लेकिन 18% जो यूएस टैरिफ्स घटने हैं वो जॉइंट स्टेटमेंट अनाउंस होने के बाद एग्जीक्यूटिव ऑर्डर द्वारा यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स ऑफ अमेरिका कर देगा। उसके 1-2 दिन बाद वो एग्जीक्यूटिव ऑर्डर बनाते हैं ना, एंड ही हैज टू साइन एन एग्जीक्यूटिव ऑर्डर। जॉइंट स्टेटमेंट 4-5 दिन में, और जल्दी भी हो सकता है। आप तो जानते हो हमने हर एक चीज जल्दी की है, स्पीड हमारी यूएसपी है। हाँ, जॉइंट स्टेटमेंट के बाद एक एग्जीक्यूटिव ऑर्डर के माध्यम से ये 18% लागू होगा।
सी ज्वाइंट स्टेटमेंट हर कंट्री के साथ एक ज्वाइंट स्टेटमेंट आया है आफ्टर द डील हैज बीन फाइनलाइज्ड एट द लीडर्स लेवल, so that joint statement will come, as honorable minister pointed out, in next maximum 4-5 days. It can happen early, as honorable minister has indicated. 2, once the joint statement is there, that joint statement needs to be converted into a legal agreement. That legal agreement will come into force. We are targeting for March, mid-March, as honorable minister has decided. We will try to meet to those timelines. This legal agreement will give us the authority to reduce our tariffs, because on Indian side the tariff reduction is only after a legal agreement, because their tariffs are executive tariffs, our tariffs are MFN tariffs. So MFN tariff reduction only can take place after the legal agreement has been signed. So that will only happen after the legal agreement has been signed. Yeah.
But
so
we hope to do it fast, maybe because there are further concessions that we will get after the legal agreement. No, there is no investment commitment. वो बोलने में शायद कभी चूक हो जाती है. ऐसा है कि we already have stated on record in Parliament and otherwise that the fast-paced growth at which India is going ahead in our journey in the Amrit Kal to Viksit Bharat 2047, we will need large volumes of energy. We will need large number of data center equipments, ICT products. Our steel capacity is going to double from today's 140 million tons to about 300 million tons in the next few years. And therefore, when we estimated what we will need from the USA, we came to a figure of at least $500 billion. We can clearly see before our eyes as potential that we can procure from the United States of America over the next 5 years. Our aircraft demand alone, orders placed on Boeing and yet to be placed but ready, are nearly $70-80 billion. If you add the engines and other spare parts, it will probably cross $100 billion. Just aircrafts alone. Data centers have just been given huge concessions in the budget. Now imagine if we get $100-150 billion of investments in data centers, we will obviously need equipment for those data centers. So I think the time is ripe for India to boldly go forward to achieve, and don't mix up the two, the target of $500 billion bilateral trade, which was set in the February 2025 announcement joint statement between USA and India, between President Trump and Prime Minister Modi. When they met in February 25, we had set a target of $500 billion of bilateral trade. And if we have to achieve that, we will certainly need to do a lot more exports and a lot more sourcing, both from between USA and India. Sorry? Massively, massively.